Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Claire and you are watching another episode of my cake chemistry series, the one where I talk all about the science behind baking. If you're enjoying these videos so far, please do remember to give them a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and of course hit the notifications button so that you don't miss any of the latest updates from me. And if you've got any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in the future, please do pop them in the comments below or come and say hello to me over on Instagram. So I recently placed a big ingredients wholesale order for my business, and one of the things I needed was cocoa powder. Now there seems to be a lot of different varieties out there now, and it got me thinking, what really is the difference between them? The two main types that we often see are natural cocoa powder and Dutch pressed cocoa powder. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each one and tell you whether they can be used interchangeably in baking. Let's first briefly talk about how cocoa powder is made. Liquid chocolate, which is basically finely ground cocoa nibs that have been passed through a series of rollers, is squeezed and pressed under a high amount of pressure, causing any cocoa butter it contains to melt. This separates off from the chocolate and the remaining solid matter is finely ground into a powder. The colour varies depending on the type of bean used and the amount of roasting it has undergone. Natural cocoa powder has a pH of around 5 or 6 and so is slightly acidic. When combined with an alkali such as bicarbonate of soda in a cake mix, it will produce carbon dioxide gas and contribute to leavening. Natural cocoa powder varies depending on the amount of cocoa butter it contains. Some have a fat content of around 10 to 12%, which is commonly used in baking. However, there are others that contain quite a high amount of cocoa butter, around 22%. Both can be used interchangeably, the latter providing a richer flavour. Do not mistake cocoa powder for sweetened cocoa, or what we might call drinking chocolate here in the UK. This has sugar added and is only really suitable for making drinks such as hot chocolate, not for baking. Dutch cocoa powders, like natural ones, also have varying fat contents. However, the difference is that they've been treated with a mild alkali to neutralise the acidity. Potassium carbonate is commonly used and this brings the pH up to around 7. To know if our cocoa powder is Dutch, the label will usually say something like cocoa powder processed with alkali. The colour depends on the amount of Dutching it has undergone, and it normally varies from a light red tainted brown to a darker one. It is much richer and redder in colour than natural. This Dutching process also affects the flavour. As we would expect, it's less acidic and overall has a very mellow but full-bodied taste. As well as this, it's generally smoother in texture. Can we substitute natural for Dutch cocoa powder and vice versa? The answer to that is yes, they can be used interchangeably when it comes to baking. We may want to adjust the amount of bicarbonate of soda in our recipe if we're using it. However, it's more so down to a personal preference. I prefer to use Dutch pressed with a fat content of around 20 to 22%, as I just love the rich flavour and colour it provides. I have some up here, not very much left. As you can see, I'm expecting a delivery today, but it's got quite a dark, slightly reddish colour, and that's always what I'm using in my baking. I do have another one which was a supermarket, just as the brand. This one is Dutch as well. If you see on the label, I don't know if it's going to focus, but it says cocoa powder and acidity regulator potassium carbonate. So that's how we know that this one is Dutch. And again, this one actually contains a 22% minimum cocoa butter content. However, this one is lighter in colour, which is why I tend to buy my cocoa powder in wholesale from one of the slightly bigger chocolate brands. So tell me, have you noticed a difference in the type of cocoa powders available, and which is your favourite to use? Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it was helpful, and I will see you next week. Bye.